Welcome to the Bold Lounge podcast. My name is Lee Burgess, and I will be your host. If you're anything like me, you love hearing inspiring stories of people who have gone on bold journeys and made a positive impact in the world. This podcast is all about those kinds of stories. Every week, we'll hear from someone who has taken a leap or embarked on an extraordinary journey. In addition to hearing their stories, we'll also learn about their bold growth mindset that they use to make things happen. Whether they faced challenges or doubts along the way, they persisted and ultimately achieved their goals. These impactful stories will leave you feeling motivated and inspired to pursue your own bold journey. I believe everyone has a bold story waiting to be freed. Tune in and get ready to be inspired. Welcome to the Bold Lounge. Today I have Alissa Randall. She is the CEO and lead photographer of All About Headshots. Welcome, Alissa.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
I'm really excited to talk about you, your business, everything going on, all the bold moves you've been making since I met you. But we'll kick it off with really talking about some boldness. And I would love to understand what your definition of bold is.
My definition of bold is regardless of how scary something feels or is to you, just going for it, just taking the bull by the horns and just putting yourself out there.
Yeah, the go for it factor.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done. I think you're a bold person. I think, you've heard me say it's not about finding your boldness, it's about freeing it. And I think sometimes we may mute it along our careers or along what we're doing. You and I have had some discussions just about our past experiences and kind of where we are now and where we are today. So in your experience, when was the first time you remember being bold based on you're going to lean into it? It's might be scary or frightening, or you might be afraid, but you're going to do it anyway.
My very first time, I would say, was when I was younger in college, and I started a tiny little business centered around t-shirts and toys in college. And then I worked for a media company for a long time as an adult and thought, okay, it's time to make a change. And that's when I moved over to the nonprofit and eventually became their CMO and really leaned in. But really, the biggest lean, I would say, is when I started All About Headshots. The way that started was May 19 of 2022. My position was eliminated. That morning, I logged in for a one-on-one and found out that the CMO role had been eliminated. And I said, okay, got off the phone, called up B&H Photo because I had just gotten these lights. I just purchased these lights. I was a natural light photographer. So I was a street photographer, a natural light photographer. And I had them sitting in my living room and I had no idea how to use them. And I called B&H because I needed help. They put me in touch with the rep for the lights that I just bought. And I spoke with the rep. His name is Cliff Hausner from ProPhoto. And I said, well, I just lost my job and I'm starting my business now. I'm starting this headshot business this afternoon. Will you come over and teach me how to use these lights? And he said, yes. And he came over that Saturday and he spent the afternoon with me and taught me how to use these lights. And that's how the business started. And I just stepped right into it, really.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think when you are where you're supposed to be, things really align. And it's been an incredible year, an absolutely incredible year.
Yeah, I always say it's kind of like a stream, versus fighting the waves. So like if you've ever gone in the ocean, and I'm sure you have, and you're out there and you're trying to get past the break so that you can maybe boogie board in or surf, or if you're that talented, I'm not, but or just kind of get past the waves is like hang out in the ocean. But that getting through the surf for me sometimes was like the corporate environment. I was getting smacked with a wave, like on a regular basis, and sometimes being able to duck underneath it or get through it. But when you're doing what you want and it's aligned with what you're good at and what you have a passion for, and what maybe it's sometimes realizing like, oh, I didn't realize I was good at that. It's almost like a stream, like you get into it and it just starts to move you. And it may not be 100 miles per hour, but it's just like, the lazy river, or it may actually be more like your whitewater rafting. It just depends. That's scaling. I would say scaling is whitewater rafting, and just starting off, it kind of feels a little lazy river as you kind of get going. Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree with that. I was once told that I'm living my life's purpose, which is to help people see themselves for the first time. And I feel I agree with exactly what you're saying, that it just sort of takes you, right? The current just takes you. It moves you in ways in which you never thought were possible.
Yeah. And when you're talking to people about it, it's it's hard for them to believe it sometimes. And honestly, what probably, 5 years ago would have been hard. I guess maybe I have to go a little farther back because I'm in year 3 of my business and it just has gone so quick. I have to think like back 6, 7, 8 years ago, like if you said you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to do this and that, and you're going to have the bold table and the bold retreat and all that, I would have yeah, right, whatever. I have to have a job. I have to take care of my family. I have to do this and this. And I think I got to a point, mine was more like I am burnt out and I can't do it anymore. And I have to go. Like it's not going to work. And it most likely wasn't working for them either. Like if I'm that stretched out, I can't imagine that I'm at my best in every place and purpose. Getting a call and then learning that your position's eliminated is so abrupt. That's the word that's coming to mind for me. Or it's so startling and such a like, that wasn't what I planned for my day. But it sounds like you kind of maybe had thought about, is there something more? Is there something different? Did you think about that before that day?
I had my
Okay.
brother is a psychologist and a photographer and lives in Hawaii. And Dave was in town because he was visiting for Thanksgiving, and I was shooting with his camera and wanted to purchase the camera that he had. So we went into the city, and on the way out from B&H, he said to me, "You should be a headshot photographer." And I said, "A what?" I had never heard of headshot photography ever. And so he told me about this photographer, and I trained under the premier headshot photographer in the country, if not the world, and loved it, loved it, loved it. And that's really how it started. So I was thinking about, this is something that I'd really love to do eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Like sometimes things just push you in the right direction. And so when my position was eliminated, I thought, well, I'm doing it. And so the business started that afternoon. My first paying client was June 24. I remember speaking with somebody from Chief, and I said to her, she was a recruiter, and I said, well, I'm going to try this for the summer and let's touch base in September. I'll see if I need to go back to corporate. And then we touched base in December, and I said, I'm never going back to corporate. And it's been in this incredible journey, meeting amazing, amazing people throughout this time.
Yeah. I think one of the things that, and I'll talk about a little bit about my experience because I've had my headshots taken by Alissa in October of last year. And first of all, I hate taking pictures of myself. I don't know. I think when I feel better about myself, like I've gained weight, I'm working on losing the weight, getting healthier. And that came from burnout and all the stuff I did habit wise with my eating when I was in so many meetings in the corporate setting. Again, I did it. I'm not blaming anybody, but it doesn't make me feel good about myself. But I knew like when I started my business in 2020 and officially kicked off in the January of 21, I didn't have any professional headshots. I didn't have anything that was recent. And there's a difference between a picture I take and a picture you take. And one of the things that when I went into it, I felt so uncomfortable. Like you do a pre-session with everyone and you talk through what do you want to wear. And I remember talking with you and I was like, I'm not, and I don't know if you remember this. I was like, I'm not your typical like corporate person who wants to come in and wear a suit and that's all it is. Like I want to have some personality. I said, I might wear a hat or I might have anthropology clothes on or, like I'm not just going to be in a black or blue suit. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I have a shot of me in a black jacket. But what I'm saying is like I was worried that a headshot meant I couldn't be myself. Is that a myth people think?
It is, yeah. So I've been told by my clients that you really captured me. And my tag is capturing your essence and also helping people see themselves for the first time. And it's so important that whoever the photographer is, that they're able to capture the essence of that person, that they're able to capture who that person is, feels, wants to be, right? And so the purpose for the headshots is really so that people feel empowered. Fantastic. I tell them, I want you to look like a rock star.
Mm-hmm. It took me a little while. We took our first shots and you showed me them, which was really cool. Like we took a couple shots and we turned the fan on for the first
Right.
one. And,
Yeah.
I felt a little like Beyonce or Oprah at that point, from the specifics. But like you helped me feel at ease.
Good. Glad.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things people may feel like if someone says, I hate pictures of me, I don't want headshots. What would you say to them?
I would say that so many of my clients have said the same thing, that they would actually rather go to the doctor than come for headshots. But once they get into the session and like you said, they become more comfortable, it's fun. It becomes a fun experience for them that's really focused all on them. And I know a lot of people don't like to be the focus of attention or the center of attention. But the session is designed so that people become comfortable, right? So what I mean by that is we start with hair and makeup and it's relaxing and somebody's really doting on you. And then we move into the session, which is all about you and lots of coaching and lots of facial expression coaching and just fun and getting people to laugh and relax into the moment, sort of embrace the moment.
Yeah. And some of the pictures that you take, you have different options. You have different outfits. My favorite still is the one in my hat and the one at the very beginning. And I think they were actually practice shots and you were surprised I liked them. So I was like, I love those. It's also an unexpectedness of the shoot that I want people to understand of like you come in maybe having a certain feeling about it, but you leave with a different feeling. I even remember if this is me, I was taking screenshots of you were showing me the pictures. I was so excited to show them to my family. I was like, I want to show them. And like, you let me take some screenshots and you sent me over even like the other things that I could look at before they got proofed. Right. I didn't want too much touch up because I am 51 and I don't want all my wrinkles taken off. I don't want to look like a glamour shot. I want to actually look like me. So I think that's the other thing. People may think that it's all about kind of looking like you don't look. And there's some options people have now, which are a lower price point, which I understand, but the quality of what is there or even what it does to your face, like some of the AI stuff, like it is not natural. And that's the one thing of, it doesn't have to be a multi-$1,000 deal. I mean, you could come in and just get one of your shots or two of your pictures, right? You don't have to come in and spend thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's accurate. So there's a sitting fee with a styling consultation, but then it's really up to the client how many images they would want. Many clients use different images for different use cases or different personas, and then some clients just get a couple. So it's really up to them. For me, what's most important is that they get what they want or get what they need and that they're delighted.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm excited to come back once I lose the weight because I've already told my team, I was like, I'm going back, but I want to do it again, kind of like the next iteration of me and my journey and kind of what I'm doing. But I think when someone gets a picture taken of them and it captures the essence of them, what does that mean to you? How do they feel? How do you feel about the picture?
So, well, I've had more women cry in my studio when they see themselves for the first time. Yeah, I did a corporate shoot a little bit ago. And she was sitting next to me looking at the pictures and she said, I forgot that I could look that way. Mm-hmm. And it was just, that's what I want for people. And so when they look at the pictures and they see themselves, they say, you've captured all the different sides of me that I couldn't even really express what they all were, but you've been able to capture them in photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they see themselves in the photos. And so that's what it should be.
So what do you think is your gift when you're in there with people? I'm assuming a lot of people come in and they're a little uncomfortable, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we have music going and, I think we had a good 80s, 90s going when I was there, which was just fabulous. But, what is it that you do?
I think it's the connection. I really love having the styling consult with everyone because they're not showing up to the studio. That's not the first time I've met them, right? There's already that connection. So there's already that comfort. And really just making sure that they're comfortable. And if they're not, then, okay, how can I make you comfortable? Are you nervous? Let's talk about it. So I really think it's the connection that's really critical.
Yeah. And the one thing that I think I would encourage people when they're working with you is just to say what you want.
Oh, yeah.
At first I thought, oh, I hope she doesn't think I'm like just a high maintenance person, but these are my photos and I really, I want it to represent me. I want it to make sure it's the full me. It was also kind of at a point where I was like, I'm ready to actually put myself out there and kind of have this type of shot. I had, the first year and a half of my business, I just used our shots that we took with a good camera, but it's not the same. And I think there's multiple reasons it's not the same. One, I think the quality, I think the way that, you kind of go, like you said, you go through the process of really capturing what they want to show and what they want to come through in the photo. They have the opportunity to do hair and makeup if they want. And again, hair and makeup isn't like a glamour shot either. It's really natural. A lot of what I had done that morning, like just stayed and she added a little bit and she did a little bit with my hair, but really let me just look naturally like I look, which was just fantastic. Which again, is I think another reason these pictures look so good. You're not trying to be something other than who you are, and you're really amplifying who you are through all of our headshots.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, it's not a glamour shot, right?
Yeah.
It's not, what was it? Sears? I think, was it Sears or
I
JC?
did the real glamour shot, man. I should next time I see you, I'll bring you my glamour shot with the fur. This was in the 90s, late 80s, and I like did glamour shot for my boyfriend or something. It is horrendous. Yeah. That's
not that at all.
At the mall. Yeah, at the mall. Remember those? They were really in the mall called glamour shots. But yeah. But no, it's truly the essence of who you are. So I really love that that's what people say. So you help people feel comfortable. What about you? Do you like your picture taken?
Oh no.
So we have that in common.
It was funny. I donate a lot of my time to nonprofits, and I was doing this shoot for the Food Bank of New York, and they hired a photographer to photograph me while I was photographing the people who were getting their headshots.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I did not enjoy it at all. And I look at these pictures and think, oh my God, I look horrible. I've got at least 20 pounds.
Yeah. But, so you can relate to some of us who
yes.
But yeah, let's talk about that work that you do, because I am so impressed with that. I didn't know that about you till you posted it on LinkedIn. What a headshot can do for someone in the sense of their profile, or they're trying to get a job, or they're trying to just feel good about themselves. I mean, you made me feel good about myself. That's hard to do because I'm pretty tough on myself. I don't want to skip over that because you empower people, you help people feel joy and happiness. And then with the work that you do in the nonprofit world, like tell us a little about the things that you do to help people with their headshots to either find a job or kind of get back out there again or reset themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel really blessed. I feel so blessed and lucky that I was able to find this path and the way that it's turned out. And I have super, super high empathy, and I want to give back as much as I can. So the Food Bank of New York, I photographed about 50 people who qualify for VITA for taxes. And they were using their photos to help them get new jobs. Some of them were in transition. Some of them wanted different jobs. Some of them hadn't worked in a while. So they were using those images. I donated my services to Princeton University for the Black Student Union. And they're all kids, right? They're all students, young people. And so same thing, they were using their photos. May 12th, I donated my services to an organization with moms who have children with special needs. And so the photos were really to make them feel beautiful, empowered, remember who they were, remember who they are.
Yeah.
It was all about them. And so my makeup artist was there, another makeup artist was there, and then I was taking photos of them.
Yeah, the reason I want to talk about that, one is just the impact that has and the opportunities that leads other people to potentially have, whether it's feeling better about themselves or feeling like they're in a new place or space, can take on new opportunities. But also it's not just about professional it's a professional headshot, but you don't have to be in the corporate world to get a headshot.
Right.
You could just want something that represents you. You could be writing your book and need a back cover picture, which yours would be great for. There are things that maybe there's events or things that you're speaking or just want an opportunity to kind of do the things that you want to do and feel good about yourself. And this is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
I think the work you do in the communities, it has a ripple effect of opportunity for someone to empower themselves. Our beliefs are so, so important. It's like if I believe I don't look good, or I can't get that job, or they'll never hire me, or my LinkedIn is like my AI photo, or it's not really me, or it's a picture from the 90s, like feeling like it represents who you are today is so, so important. And that's what I experienced with my photo, was like, wow, I actually am pretty, even though I'm overweight and not, this is my words, like I just don't feel like I'm the healthiest. I'm actually pretty, and that makes me feel good, and that makes me feel like I want people to see more of that, which leads to me sharing more, talking more, being able to write the book. Like I'm writing a book. Like it's a process. And sometimes I feel like the headshot is the opening of the door for what's next. Can you tell me a little about your experience and some of the people? And you've done over 300 plus headshots at this point in a little over a year.
Right. Yeah. And I'm writing a post about this actually, but
Okay.
I had a headshot done and it was a terrible experience. It was horrible.
Like you had yours done?
I had mine done.
Okay.
And it was a terrible experience. And then I had a friend of mine take mine who is a headshot photographer, and it was a great experience. And being a photographer and being a headshot photographer specialist, I know what's so important, and that connection is so important. That connection with the person is so critical to make them feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got my headshot done, there was no connection. It was, he was looking at a schedule. Okay, here's your time slot. You're in, you're out. There was really no care. And that's not what I want for my clients. That connection is so important, that because they're putting themselves in my hands,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're standing in front of my lens.
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah. It's a very, very vulnerable position to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel very exposed, not to make a pun on photography, but you feel exposed. And so you have to be comfortable with that person who is in your space. I mean, I am literally in your space because I'm adjusting your clothing, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to know each other real quick.
Yeah. No wrinkles. I don't want any wrinkles. Yep, exactly. I'm in your space.
Yeah.
So that connection and making everyone feel so comfortable is critical.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you see when you look at the photos.
Yeah. If someone's thinking about doing the headshot, what are some of the things they can do to prepare for it, or just even kind of get in the right mindset for it as they come into the session?
Well, if they haven't yet booked a session, I would say just call me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to talk with you about it, answer any questions, allay your fears, that kind of thing, because everybody has them. I have them too. I don't want to be in front of the camera, right? So everybody has them. And then once the session is booked and we have the styling consultation, I hope that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. And then during the session, if you're uncomfortable, tell me and we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
and
like be straight up. That's the one thing I love about you, is even though we had not met, other than just that, I mean, we knew of each other, but I mean, it wasn't like we had conversations or seen each other live and in person, is I felt comfortable to be, I'll just say, bold and kind of say, I really don't like that. I don't want that. Yes, I do. No, I don't. And you did it right back to me, which was okay. All right. Well, this is going to work. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have to worry about hurting your feelings or feeling like, oh, I'm going to just take a picture because that's what she wants. It was like, really say what you want, because Alyssa's doing this for you. And I think that's the one thing that it's sometimes weird, because I think sometimes as women, we're always like, well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I want to make sure that, I don't make any waves, but like, this is all about you, all about your headshot, all about headshots, right? That's the whole point. So I think that's something to encourage too, of just speak out and say, I want to do more of that. Oh, I hate that one. And I think that's the other thing. You'd be like, oh, well, I like that one. And we could sit there and like have conversation around the photos as they went, but we did it in a very efficient way, which was also something I loved, because I don't want to do a 3-hour photo shoot.
Right.
I loved how efficient it was, but it was efficient, high quality, and exactly what I wanted, wrapped up in an hour session of, or less for the photos. So I think for people to also think that this isn't something they have to do for hours and hours, especially if it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I offer a few different types of sessions, and I'll go over that. But as you know, once we get into a session and let's say you're done with hair and makeup and you come over to me, then we take a test shoot, right? And so I ask, how do you feel about your hair, your makeup, the lighting? Because anything can be adjusted. So if you want something changed with makeup, if you want something changed with lighting, with hair, whatever it is, it's because it's all about you. And then as far as the sessions go, the typical session, as I say in air quotes, is hair and makeup is 2 hours. The session is 2 hours, but the session could be an hour. The session could be 10 minutes. So I've had clients who maybe don't want hair and makeup. And let's say they call and say, my boss is telling me I need to get a headshot. I say, okay, I have a session that's 10 minutes. You're going to be in and out. And very quick, you're still going to get great photos. But if you want that because you don't want to stand there for that an hour or longer, let's do that. And then once they get in front of the camera, because I always allow a little extra time, even for the 10-minute, they're like, oh, I brought extra clothes. Can I put those on? Of course. Yes, absolutely. Because it's all about them, even if it's 10 minutes or a half hour, it's all about them.
Yeah, so it really is personalized. I think, again, speaking out, being bold, kind of saying what you want, what you like, what you don't like, that's absolutely what Alissa wants.
Yeah.
You also do road shows, and then you actually have a place in New York now. Tell me a little bit about that, because that really just came out of all the growth of and the need for the headshots.
Yeah. So I do road shows, but yeah, I have a studio in New Jersey and now a studio in New York City, and it's incredible. I love it. It's my happy place.
Yeah.
So
So lots of options. So, take a trip to New York, go to see Alissa, come to a bold table, like whatever you want to do. That would be fun to maybe even combo those together. Being able to find you, all the information about that is certainly in the episode notes, and kind of seeing some of the things that she's done before, examples of her work. It's just exceptional. What is the most surprising thing that's come from your experience in doing this as your career now?
how much I am I'm so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy. And the people that I've met have been absolutely incredible. And just that this is my life now.
Yeah.
It's crazy coming from being in corporate America. I'm in my 50s. I never talk about my age, but I'm in my 50s doing now what I was meant to be,
Mm-hmm.
and taking that leap and being bold. It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
What would you say to your May 22 self now compared to where you are today? Like what would you say?
Just go for it. Everything is going to be great.
Yeah.
Just
I have to ask you about the lights, because that's something really special about the lights.
yeah.
I don't know anyone that has these lights. And if you've had the session, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you go to the session, you'll see them immediately. You're kind of boxed in them. It's not a full box, but 3 sides.
Right.
What magic is in those things? Do you feel like the lights add something that's different than anyone else's headshots? Because no one else has them. You have to go to Alissa to get them. Tell me about them.
Yeah. No, I mean, the lights, they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lighting, very clean. And so it's funny. I get a lot of calls from people that say, can we do an outside headshot? And I
Mm.
said, I can absolutely do an outside headshot, but let me tell you why I don't recommend it. Number one, the background should be just nondescript. You should be the hero of your headshot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in front of a tree, even if it's blurred, the brain's asking, what kind of tree is that?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah.
So that's why I shoot in front of very nondescript backgrounds. But then inside my studio, either one or even on the road, I can control the lighting. And this lighting that I use, it's incredibly bright, but I can adjust it down if it hurts your eyes. It's so clean. It's so clean. And, the lights that I talked about in May, I now use those differently
Okay.
than before. So those aren't the same lights, but they're still very much part of my toolkit. But yeah, these lights are incredible. You can't rent them. So when I travel, they are in my car or on the plane.
Yeah, they're in a seat next to you.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah. So I think the analogy there from, what I want people to realize is actually shining a light on yourself, brightening it, having it be clean, meaning it's really you. It's truly you coming through. It's not AI, it's not de-wrinkled, it's you. The shot is the most beautiful shot I have ever had in my life. And, so I just want people to truly, and I don't say stuff I don't mean, and people know that. So I think I just want people to realize that being you and shining a light on it is really, really a good thing. And you will never know how beautiful you are until you do that. And one of the things Alissa does is bring that out and be able for you to show it to yourself first, like you said, Like some people are like, I didn't know I could even look like that, or I didn't even know I looked like that. Or even when you're not feeling so great about yourself like me, like, wow, I'm beautiful. Even though I'm not where I want to be, I'm beautiful. And it's, I don't know, that's weird to say, and at least for me to say it. So I just want people to realize that these are the types of things you can do for yourself that actually kind of boost your bold, boost your confidence and your courage to do what's next, to take that step. I think from a career perspective, Alissa is a perfect example of being bold and like, I'm not going to kind of sit in it. I'm not going to go, woe is me. Now, did she go through a phase of figuring stuff out? And while that didn't feel so good, and maybe I was a little hurt there, I'm sure that happened in the background. But what's bold about what you've done, Alissa, is like you just kept right, left, right, left. And, you know, I always say to begin, like you did it the very next day. Maybe that afternoon. I don't know. So that's bold. So I just, as we end out, I just want people to realize the power of the picture and all the testimonials you've received. Is there anyone that sticks out for you that we want to end with, just so people can realize the impact of what a headshot can have?
I would say not just one person, because there are so many amazing people that I've met, but it is all about it's all about you, right? And so, you know, I get a lot of calls from women specifically who say, I need to lose 20 pounds first.
Mm-hmm.
They say, if you want to, that's fine, but you don't really have to, right? Because I mean, you know, the way I make you stand and all of that jazz.
Yeah, I even do that now. I'm like, hold on, I got to get in the position.
Yeah.
I use that trick a lot because I was like, it really helps.
It really helps. So I don't think that you have to wait for something, but it's all about you. It could be a defining moment. You know, I've heard from a lot of clients who have gotten headshots where they say, I've gotten a better job, right? Because it's your digital presence, it's your digital brand.
Well, it makes you stand up a little. I even just sat up in my chair a little bit as you were saying. It makes you sit up, put your shoulders back, literally and figuratively. Like at the shot, you do some positions, you're like, wow, I didn't know I could stand up that straight. You know? So, but actually it literally and figuratively, you stand taller from these. And I just encourage everyone to be bold. If you're uncomfortable, talk to Alissa about what you can do or what your options are and how you prefer to do the headshot. There's a whole bunch of options. So be bold, everyone. Check Alissa out at her roadshow or in New Jersey or New York. Connect with her online in episode notes. All the information's there. Thank you so much, Alissa, for being on the Bold Lounge.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for listening to the Bold Lounge podcast. Through the continuum of bold stories, vulnerability to taking a leap, you will meet more extraordinary people making a positive impact for others through their unique and important story. By highlighting these stories, we hope to inspire others and share the journey of those with a bold mindset. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast and look forward to sharing the next bold journey with you.